Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So, this is that pool table that I mentioned in a couple of the other videos, and I've got a problem. I need a place to put the cues. So we're going to build a cue rack. We're going to do some measuring, some cutting, some more cutting, some more cutting, some sanding, some gluing, and then we're going to see what we can come up with. So stay tuned and let's get building. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little bit of measuring. And we're going to be just cutting some of this wood down to size. The idea is that we're going to have pretty much 2 columns, a back plate, a bottom plate, and a couple shelves. So we're going to do some cutting, some more cutting, some more measuring, more cutting. You may remember that piece of wood from some of my past projects. And now we're just going to clean this door frame up. I do believe this is a red oak. It is a really hard wood. Oh, what's that? Smoke? That's a lot of smoke. That's a lot of smoke. We've got a really dull saw blade here. We're just gonna blow on that to make sure that if there's any embers, we can burn the shop down. Good move, Corey. Thankfully, there's no embers. It's just the wood heating up. Hasn't lit on fire yet. So we're gonna push our luck and we're gonna try one more cut. And we're going to smoke out the entire shop, and this actually stopped me from doing any more cuts for the day because, well, my entire shop, as you can see, is filled with smoke. But it didn't burn down, so that's a positive. We sharpened the blade now, and it cuts through wood like butter and no more smoke. So we're just going to clean up some of these boards, make sure they're nice and square. Cut things down to size. Of course, because I'm doing a voiceover, I'm watching my boy's bird, and it's in the background chirping away. Hi, Elijah. Hope you're having fun in Quebec. As I said, lots and lots of cutting. So now we're just gonna sort of lay it out, see if what's in my head actually looks decent. We've got those 2 columns, we've got a couple shelves, we've got a back plate there, we've got a bottom plate. So I think this is gonna work. So now, because this is old scrap wood, there is some issues with it. There's a couple knotholes that go all the way through, and we're going to put some packing tape on top of this just to make sure that we hold that tight in there and that it doesn't stick to my counter, because this hole goes all the way through. We'll pour it in. It's slowly going through it, but once we get this all set up, we'll flip it on over and get some on the other side. And we're just going to drizzle it in any crack, crevice, dent, ding, nick. Not worried too much about it being clean. Not worried too much about spillover because, well, we're going to be sanding this afterwards. So we can bring it all down. A little more packing tape just to make sure nothing leaks out. And I've got a little bit of resin on the counter, and if you ever need to clean up resin, alcohol, just dump some on, take a cloth, wipe it, comes off lickety split. And we're gonna fill the rest of that knot. There's a couple knots in this next piece that will top up as well. And on one of those pieces, you might notice there is a bit of dry rot. We're going to put some resin on that, see if it'll soak in and harden that a bit. You may notice we don't have all the boards here, only the ones that had some marks in them. So now what we're going to do, we're going to find the center of the board, because we need to cut in a groove for the balls to rest in. Now you may notice we're down to 2 boards here. I wasn't pleased with some of the other boards and how they were working out. So, and the whole thing, when carrying the wood, it is extremely heavy. This wood is super dense, so it's got a lot of weight behind it. It's super hard, so it's got some good rigidity. So we're just going to mark these up, drill them, then cut them in half actually, because they don't need to be this thick. Now, you dolt it. You can't use pencil on resin. Yeah, use the big knife instead of a small little X-Acto blade. That is a beautiful knife though. So now that we've got our the end of our channels marked, we're just going to use a Forstner bit and adjust the height of the table and drill a couple holes all the way through. Got a piece of scrap ply underneath to prevent the tear out on the other side. And more smoke, which that one sort of gets me because, well, the Forstner bit's not dull, so maybe I'm just exacting a little too much pressure. And we'll repeat it on the other board. That's running theme with this entire project is do something the same way over and over and over again. Now we're going to play a little bit of connect the dots, because that's just 2 holes. We need a channel. That way the balls can freely sit in there. And once again, do it on both sides. And we're just going to use the jigsaw to cut that out. Oh, dead battery. New battery. And let's just finish that nice straight cut. I really need actually quite a bit of cleanup on this cut. There's probably 100 different ways to do this, and I picked one where I'm not good at cutting straight. I could put a fence in there so that I can just run it along there, but I didn't. Live and learn. This is an adventure. So now we'll just pop that out, and we have a channel. And now for some deja vu. Let's do it all again, but in high speed. Okay, now that we've got those channels cut out, as I said, these don't need to be that thick because the wood is very dense. It's very hard. So we're just gonna cut them down to a nice thinner size. I think I went with something like a 1/4 inch. And then some sanding. Everyone's favorite thing to do. Sanding. And more sanding. And more sanding. And we're going to sand up the other pieces. We're just going to bring them one by one into here and get them all cleaned up. Get as many nicks and grooves out of them. I'm not looking for any near finish or anything like that. I just want a nice smooth surface. So now we've got that all sanded, we're just going to cut the grooves in here so that we can put it all together. Now I could have replaced this with a dado stack, but well, lazy. Didn't want to do it, didn't feel like it. Feel like running the piece of wood 1,000 times over this. So we're just going to cut it. And cut it, and cut it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this method, except it's very, very, very tedious. But it is like magic. Watching that wood just disappear. Abracadabra. Wood, no wood. Okay, now that we've got that side done, let's make sure that it fits like a glove. And then repeat on the other side. And don't worry, this isn't the last time you'll see this technique used. As I said at the beginning, lots of cutting. And now we're going to just cut out the grooves for the shelves. Make sure that fits. No, it's still a little too narrow. So we'll just nick it up a little bit. And it's a tight squeeze in there. I'm pretty sure that we can sand it to make it fit. So on to the next one. And it fits, so on to the third one. It'd be nice to get that right the first time. And we're going to repeat the process on the other column. Hey, I got it right on the first time. But not that time. This voiceover brought to you by Sky the Bird. Okay, now we're just going to cut out a huge chunk of wood on the back of the columns so that the back plate can sit in there. And once again, many different ways. It was a little sad to have to do this because that knot actually looked pretty cool with the resin in it. But I want a nice good secure connection here because this is going to be holding the entire weight. Okay, now I'm just going to use the forceps a bit, drill a couple holes into the bottom plate. That way the cues can sit inside them. And we're going to do the same on the other side, but you don't need to see that. You've seen me do the same thing over and over again. So now we're going to drill a couple pilot holes. Just going to do it on this other side. And we're going to use the forcer bit just to countersink those screw holes, because we don't want screws sticking out. A little deeper, Corey. A little deeper. There you go. So now, as most wood projects should be, glue it and screw it. Just slather that on in the crack. Make sure you get both cracks. And flip it on up. Grab some screws and fasten it together with your arm in the way, Corey. Good job. Cinematography at its finest. And we'll do it on the other side. And now to get the shelves in. Now, these aren't going to be screwed or tacked or anything. They're just going to be glued. The whole thing being held together should keep these in place. So we're just going to slather it on and then stick it on in. And slather more on. And stick it on in. And you guessed it. Slather it on. And stick it on in. Wait a second. Okay, we're going to drill some more pilot holes. This is for the back plate. Here we're going to double it up on either side because, as mentioned, this is going to be holding the entire weight of the Q rack. This thing, though I was able to cut the shelves down, all 4 of them, 3 of them, it's still pretty heavy. I haven't weighed it or anything, but it's got some good heft to it. So we'll just drill these pilot holes, and we did it on the other side. Now we're going to use the forcer bit just to countersink this so that it can sit flush against the wall. Get the other side. And now a little bit of glue. And pop it back together. And screw it on in. Okay, so now it's all dried up. So we're just using some of my homemade paste wax. Just slathering it all over it to give it a nice finish here and protect the wood. It's just a combination of wax and mineral oil. There's a lot of wood to rub. Oh, you didn't brush your hair this morning, Corey. Good job. This is why I try to wear a hat in most of my videos. We're just gonna finish getting it wiped down. Now we need a way to hold the Q sticks. So here we're going to cut up some PVC pipes into about 3/4 of an inch to an inch sections. This is by far potentially the most dangerous part of the project, because not only are these pieces small, but all that little bit of dust is just making these oh so slippery. So I was being really, really cautious here. Make sure that nothing slipped and that I didn't cut my finger off. So one of my goals in life, my grandpa had cut a lot of his fingers off woodworking. I don't want to do the same thing. So now that we've got those pieces, I turned this little mandrel up on the lathe, and it's just tapered to the point where we need to bend these things. So we're just gonna pop them in some hot water to soften the plastic, and we're gonna just push that mandrel on. And it's just gonna start to spread it. Put it in the hot water to soften it up some more, and push it through the hole. It should, with the softened plastic, bend open a bit more. More heat, more pushing. And what's really cool is that my stove element is not purple. I didn't change this. That's just the way it looks like on video. It's totally cool. Now that we've got to the bottom of the mandrel, we're just going to let that cool off. I started the next one while we waited. And we can just pop it off and it'll retain that shape. And we'll give them a nice quick coat of spray paint. I did sand them up to rough up the edge so the spray paint will stick. This is a spray paint intended for plastics. And what's that in your hair? You got like wood chips? So a couple pilot holes. And then just screwing these on. Not even countersinking because they should have enough grip on them to hold the cues. I could take a Sharpie and blacken the screws, but I don't think it's necessary. Now we need a place for the triangle to sit. So we're over to the lathe. This is just one of the offcuts from the project. And we're just going to turn it down till we get a nice little... What do they call them? Little knob handle thingies. A finial. That's it. It's a finial. So we're just going to turn down a finial. And we'll double check the size. No, we still got some more to go. I'll make sure that this size is good because this is what's going to fit in to the hole that I'm going to drill into the top back plate. We got it the right size, so now we're just going to bring this down a bit so that's not just a chunk of wood sitting out of it. And now that we've got it all trimmed up, we'll pop it in the chuck. And we're going to put some more of that paste wax on. A lot of that paste wax on. This is definitely way too much paste wax. As you can see it flying off. Thankfully I'm wearing a face shield so it's not getting in my face. And that's all that was to it. We've got some beautiful grain patterns. And we've got a beautiful cue rack mounted securely in the wall. The columns did end up being 16 inches wide, so unfortunately I had to offset the mounting screws. But other than that, I think this project worked out great. If you enjoyed the content, please give the video a like, and if you want more projects like this, subscribe. Have a great day.